in downtown Dana. This is the heart of Dana.
Downtown Metropolitan.
Right there's the Dana Community Center, the ball fields and stuff. Dana Community Club. Right there's the Dana Fire Department. So you're in the heart of Dana. Now, I forgot to mention one thing as we came up Dana Road. You may have noticed the road to the left called Old Dana Road. The Dana Road you came up wasn't the original Dana Road. The Old Dana Road was the original Dana Road. And on Old Dana Road was the Mount Vernon one-room school. It actually had more than one room, but it was also called Dry Hill. But it was a Mount Vernon school, and I meant to tell you about that, and I forgot it. You pass the Otteray Canning Company here on the right. The Otteray Canning Company was founded by Jonathan Case, the Case family, in 1912. Later on, the Stepp family takes it over. And that Otteray Canning Company was a huge producer of canned fruits and vegetables and things coming out of this county. And we studied that for those of you who have already had the class, and I think it's in the next lesson for those of you taking it right now. They were producing like 58,000 cans yearly, monthly. They were really bringing in a large business. When we get to Larry Ball's, he's got cans from the Otteray Canning Company. That was a huge production facility and employed quite a few people. It was really big, not just for this community, but for Henderson County as a whole. It's that rock building that Susan pointed at as we drove up, that old rock building. That's only part of the canning company. There's another stone building way back in behind that one that was part of the canning company too. But a lot of the buildings have been torn down. There's two structures left, this larger one and a smaller one behind it. This church was founded in 1846 out of Ebenezer. Remember, Ebenezer was that very early church? And so the people in this community wanted a Baptist church, and this one was founded out of Ebenezer. And there was a school called the Ridge School, according to the minutes in the church history. Well, I believe that was Blue Ridge School, the Blue House, because they talk about meeting in the home of William Case, and William Case lived over there by the Blue House, where we're going to be going next. So these First Baptists were meeting further down. They weren't where we're standing now. And then they bought property on the waters of Tumblebug Creek and Ridge Road. Well, Tumblebug Creek is down that way. It's a creek down in that direction. So they bought somewhere in this area, but I'm not sure exactly where. It's not where the church is sitting right now today. But it was in this area. And this is one of those churches that accepted slaves into membership. And it specifically says in the church minutes when they accepted the slaves, it gives the first names of Robert Jones into membership here. So some of the old fieldstones could very well be slave graves. In 1889, the same William Nicholas Clark we saw down there and his wife, Melinda Justice, ICU Justice, donated the land for a new church sanctuary, for a new church building. So that's got to be right in this area right here. Elijah King and Arthur McCarson gave also land, the original land. So I'm not sure how much of this was church property. Early members were members of the Case family, the Jones, the Justice, ICE Gilbert, Duncan, Williams, Brock, Taylor, Tabor, Blackwell, Hoots, Hill, Stepp, and on and on. The Dana Post Office was founded in 1892. Now, as we drive out of here, we're going to go right, and you're going to see a little white wooden church on the right that says something like 2001. Who knows the name of that church? It says some strange name like 2001 something. But that used to be an Advent Christian church. I don't know what that exactly is, but it was an Advent Christian church. Where that church sits, that little white church, was where a man from New Hampshire by the last name of Hadley came in 1890, in the 1880s, and built a hotel. So it's where that little white church building sits as we go out. And it had 20 rooms, and he put an observation tower behind it. and it burnt later on. But they wanted a post office for the people, the guests staying for the summers at the hotel, to be able to get mail. So that's when they established the Dana Post Office in 1892, and this Hadley had a son named Dana. So he asked for it to be named for his son, Dana Hadley. It was in the home at first of William Case. He was the first postmaster. And then he built a store, which was on the side of the road where the fire department is, a little bit further up on the left. And he had a store there, and that's where the post office was. And then Jonathan Case, and who also owned Monterey Cannery, was the postmaster. Later, it was moved to the J.H. Step store. It wasn't the J.H. Step store where the fire department is now. Right, that's the J.H. Step. Well, which store was there? Was that the Case store? Anybody remember it growing here? In 1949, they moved the post office where it's located today, which was right next to the church. In this particular cemetery, it's a huge cemetery, but it gives you an idea of people in the community. We have two men who died in World War II, Lowell Love, he died at the Rhine River, and Aaron Williams, who died in the Battle of the Bulge. We have Hubert Jacob Hyder, who survived the war and came home and got up in a private plane, and the plane crashed and he died. Died in World War I, we have Thomas Jefferson Jones, who was killed while crossing the Hindenburg line. Philip Doc Hyder and John Walker Hoots were in the Philippine-American War. Buried here we have Terrell W. Taylor's grave. The famous Terrell Taylor, who served once as sheriff before the Civil War, again after the Civil War, and was the one that was in the Baynard Adair murder case and hung the Adair brothers and let Martin Baynard escape. He's also the Terrell Taylor who owned the stagecoach line from 1865 until the railroad came and they didn't have a stagecoach anymore. He's also the Terrell Taylor that was elected to the state senate 3 times from 1874 to 1990, and the same Terrell Taylor that was the master of ceremonies at the arrival of the first train in Hendersonville. Also buried here is James Blythe, one of the most well-known, if not the most well-known and prominent Baptist ministers in the history of Henderson County. He established and served as minister in almost every Baptist church in the county. He actually established Saluda Baptist and a few others. He was one of the founders of Judson College. He established and printed the first newspaper in the county, the Carolina Baptist. He served in the North Carolina House in 1866, in the State Senate in 1868, and the State House again in 1872. And he's buried in this cemetery. We have 9 Union guys that went over to the Union in the last few months or year of the war. James Brock, William Case, Elias Gibbs, Perry Hood, Robert Monroe Justice, Robert Valentine Osteen, John Bayless Shipman, Jesse Staten, and Robert Stepp. We have 22 Confederate soldiers buried here. 22. Pulaski Brock, Reuben Brock, George Washington Brown, Joel Carlisle, James Manning Case, James W. Case, John C. Case, William A. Duncan, John P. Hill, Hiram Dyer Justice, John Thomas Justice, Robert James King, Jesse Maxwell, Irvin Neal, Thomas Franklin Pace, Benjamin Allen Staten, John Walton Staten, Hiram Kimsey Stepp, Benjamin Merritt Taylor, Alexander Thompson, Robert Townsend, and Levi Ward. So this is a huge cemetery. Also, we have buried here a guy that moved to Henderson County after the War of 1812 and was the very first Duncan to settle in Henderson County. So he would be the ancestor of all the Duncans in the county and their descendants. So if any of you descend from any of the Duncan family, there is your ancestor over here. Any questions? So we're going to be leaving here and driving through the Dana, and I wanted you to note the places as we go toward Dana Methodist Church. Any questions on Dana? That's a steeple from the wooden church. This is a new, gosh, I didn't get the entire church history. That sanctuary was built since the 1980s. Now, that community building. Across the street as you go out, you're going to see their big community center that's been built since 2008. This section here has been remodeled and added on. It looks to me like they got the original stained glass in this section that's been here since probably the 50s. But they've added on. I know the old steeples from the old wooden church. You know where behind Milo's, you see that old white wooden steeples? That's the original steeples from the white wooden church that was here. Now this church has sharp note singings.
Shape
Big
note.
note, I mean, well, they're sharp. The shape note singings are here, and they announce them in the Times News when they have them. I think they have about once a month. Maybe not that often, but they have fairly frequently. So they actually do some teaching of shape note singing and have shape note singing. Any other questions?